In the summer, I try to make meals that require minimal cooking. But let's face it, if we want something yummy, it's going to require a little bit of cooking. So I've picked out a few of my favorite summer recipes. They require just a little bit of cooking, and for the chicken, you can throw it on the grill or use leftover chicken. It's totally up to you, but let's take advantage of the fresh summer flavors. What are some of your favorite meals to make over the summer? Let me know in the comments below. I also want to take a moment to thank our patrons on Patreon. We could not do this without you, and so we just want to thank you so much for all your support. If you're interested in learning more about Patreon, we've included a link in the description below. Here are 4 summer recipes that will help keep your kitchen cool and satisfy your cravings for those Asian flavors. Chinese chicken salad, Korean tuna rice bowl, cold sesame noodles, and mango avocado salad. The Cheesecake Factory has a lot of really great salads, but I have to say their Chinese chicken salad, when I read the ingredients, it just makes me cringe a little. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna put in my Chinese chicken salad. I have about 12 wonton wrappers, and I'm just going to cut these up into strips, probably about 1/2 inch wide. I'm gonna lay them out on a sheet pan. I'm just sticking this in the toaster oven, so I have a small sheet pan here. In one single layer. I'm gonna spray on some avocado oil. You can use whatever oil you've got. I preheated my toaster oven to 350. You can use a large oven if you don't have a toaster oven. And we're going to bake this at 350 for 3 to 5 minutes, just until they're golden brown. So you might want to watch them. All right, so this was 5 minutes at 350. Next, I'm going to make the salad dressing. I'm using 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, or a neutral cooking oil or salad dressing oil, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Just gonna whisk that together. Just making sure that the sugar dissolves. Okay, then we're just gonna set this aside until we need to dress the salad. Now I'm just gonna get the rest of my vegetables cut up. I have 1 green onion. I'm just gonna chop this up. I have about, 8 sprigs of cilantro, just the top leafy part, and I'm just going to roughly cut this up into sections because I want them to be a little bit bigger. That's it. Using 2 Roma tomatoes. Just going to take out this core part. I'm just going to cut this into 8s. Next, I'm going to slice up an avocado. I'm just going to keep it in its skin until it's time to serve, but I'm just going to cut them thinly. I've got 2 relatively small mangoes. I'm just going to cut them where the pit is on either side. And we're also going to slice them and keep them in the skin until we're ready to serve. All right, so you can see how the pit is just a narrow pit in the mango. I pan-fried some chicken using my grandmother's recipe that we will link to. Otherwise, you can use any cooked chicken that you have that's maybe left over or from a rotisserie chicken, completely up to you. I'm just going to slice up these thighs, and I left the skin on. You can make it without the skin. Now it's time to assemble. I have about 5 ounces of mixed greens, and this is just this boxed salad greens. That's about 130 grams-ish. I'm going to season it with some salt. I like to season my salads. So just a couple pinches of salt and some pepper. Okay, so make sure you whisk the dressing until it's kind of emulsified so that it's not separating. And then we're going to pour this over all of the salad. Okay, I'm going to put the chicken on top. Your tomatoes. Avocado. And we're scooping out our mango. And your green onions, just sprinkle that all over, along with cilantro. Don't forget the wonton wrappers that we made. And roasted sesame seeds, kind of all over. The Chinese chicken salad at the Cheesecake Factory is $30. I made this for about $10. My most expensive item was probably the chicken, and we live in Canada, so chicken is expensive. So that was probably $4 in the whole salad. And of course, avocados are also expensive here. So my one avocado was like $2. And then everything else is fairly reasonable. So I'm gonna say about $10 for this whole salad that can feed 3 to 4 people. All right. Does that look good or what? So the Koreans make I want to call it a sushi roll, but it's not really sushi because everything in it is cooked. It's called kimbap. And they use rice and veggies and sometimes a cooked meat or a cooked seafood, and they roll it up like sushi and they cut it up. But you all know I can't be bothered with that. And so that's where this tuna bowl comes in, because it uses all the ingredients that would go into a kimbap into a bowl. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe for more simple food ideas. So there's just a couple of things to chop up. I have 1 green onion. I'm just gonna chop that up. I'm also using a Korean sweet pickled radish, and this is totally optional. We like the sweet and pickly flavors that we're gonna add to our bowls. And I'm just going to chop 1 up. And again, if you don't want it, you can totally omit it. And probably the most expensive ingredient in this dish is avocado. But again, you don't have to use it. I love avocado, and so does the rest of the family. And so we are using it. But again, it's optional. Actually, every ingredient in this tuna bowl is optional except for, well, the tuna. So I'm just gonna thinly slice this. This is kind of like my recipe for deconstructed California roll. We're essentially deconstructing a kimbap here. So I've got a bowl of rice, and this is just plain rice, no seasoning or anything like that, but I am going to add some furikake. And furikake is just like a seaweed seasoning. It's got spices, sesame seed, and other flavors in there that just flavor the rice. And we're just gonna open up a can of tuna. I'm using a Korean tuna that is stored in sesame oil, and only because Dude requested it. Otherwise, you can just use regular tuna, drain it, add some sesame oil to it, And we're just gonna put that right on top of the rice with all the juices. Oh, it smells so yummy.
See, I told you it's superior. It's the right tuna for the job.
Can you eat all that, dude?
Watch me.
We're gonna add a little bit of sesame oil, just a drizzle, some soy sauce, also just a drizzle, some black pepper. Next we have Japanese mayo, which is more eggy than regular mayo. And you can add as little or as much as you like. Add some pickles. A little bit of the green onion. We're also going to add some roasted sesame seeds. I'm going to fan out some of the avocado. This bowl serves one, but it only costs, I'm going to say $5, and without the avocado, probably $3. They're also serving it with some seaweed. And this is seasoned seaweed, but you can serve it with some nori. Now, I love tuna sandwiches, but dude, this looks so much better and it's way more substantial. We're making a cold sesame noodles today, so starting with 1/4 cup of sesame paste. It's different from tahini, which I believe is made with raw sesame, but it doesn't actually say that it's roasted sesame paste, but it's Asian sesame paste. And if you don't have sesame paste, you can always substitute with peanut butter because it has a very similar flavor profile. Also adding 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Two tablespoons of soy sauce or light soy sauce. 1 tablespoon of sugar. And sugar will help to balance out the vinegar and the saltiness of the soy sauce. And I'm also going to crush a clove of garlic. And you can use as little or as much as you like. I'm just using 1 clove. We're just gonna whisk this together. If you're using peanut butter, just make sure you dilute it a little bit because it will be thicker than the sesame paste I'm using today. We're also going to add some vegetables to add to the texture. I'm using half a carrot that I'm going to julienne. Also using a mini cucumber. You can use about 1/4 of a regular English cucumber if you like, or a seedless cucumber. I don't know why we call them English cucumbers here. I'm also going to julienne the green onion. So it's summer, I'm gonna plant these in my garden and new green onions will sprout from them. And actually you can use whatever crunchy vegetables you like. We just want to add some color, add some crunchiness. I'm also adding about 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro, and I know a lot of you may not like cilantro. You can omit this part. You can add some more green onion, some other vegetables you may want to consider as maybe purple cabbage or regular cabbage or bean sprouts. Those are all good options to add. Typically in cold sesame noodles, we would be using a white noodle, but today I decided to use spaghetti because I like the al dente texture of a spaghetti in this recipe, but you can use white noodle or spaghetti, totally up to you. I cooked 8 ounces of spaghetti and then I plunged it in cold water just to stop the cooking. And we're going to toss this first. If you find that your sauce is at all too thick, you can always add some water. Adding my carrots and cucumber. green onion, and cilantro. This is tossed. And if you want to add some spiciness to your sauce, you can totally do that as well. You can add some crushed red pepper, or you can add Szechuan pepper, or even some chili oil or chili sauce. All right, so this recipe was super easy to make, guys. It will take as long as it takes to cook your noodles. So whatever noodles you're using. Spaghetti took me 9 minutes. Also took me time to boil the water, so maybe like 15 minutes total. If you're making it with white noodle or even instant noodle or instant ramen, you can get it done quickly. 3 minutes for instant noodles? My chopstick skills are terrible. I also have some peanuts that I crushed up, just roasted peanuts. And we're gonna garnish with that. And I left some veggies to garnish as well. And there you go. First, I'm going to start with the dressing. And this salad is so simple to make. Starting with 2 limes. I'm just going to roll them a little bit because when you roll them, apparently it produces more juice, although I totally don't understand how that works. But I also stuck them in the microwave for a little bit to warm them up. And apparently that also gives you more juice. I don't know, it's about the same as usual. Anyways, I love this lemon reamer because it reminds me of my great-grandmother. And I wish I had the foresight to say I wanted her reamer when I was younger, but of course that did not happen. But this one reminds me of her. This is 2 limes, guys. We're looking for about, I don't know, 3 tablespoons or so, 2 to 3 tablespoons, and I think there's 2 to 3 tablespoons here. All right, just putting that into my bowl. Right, I'm also adding 3 tablespoons of a neutral oil and a light oil. So I'm using avocado oil today. I want a light taste, so I don't really want to use like an olive oil because I don't want that flavor of olive in the salad. So I do recommend a neutral tasting oil. And 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. I like to use maple syrup in salads because I don't have time, or I don't have the patience to melt the sugar. And the maple syrup also just adds a depth of flavor that you're not going to get with sugar. Moving on to avocados. Now, one way to tell whether or not your avocado is ripe is when you remove the top, or this stem, you can see that it's green on the inside. That means your avocado is ready to go. And of course, if it's feeling not super hard but firm, yet gives a little bit, that's how you tell. But don't go to the store and start picking off all of these to find a ripe avocado. That's just wrong. See, perfect. Remove the pit. And then we're just going to cut into the avocado. Don't cut all the way through, into chunks. See, another perfect one. Now we're just going to use a spoon and scoop the flesh right into the dressing. I like to do the avocado first because of the lime juice. It will help to make sure that the avocado doesn't brown while you're preparing the rest of the ingredients. I'm just going to give this a toss. Using 2 mangoes. These are Atolfo mangoes. I like them a little bit better than the other more round mangoes because they are less fibrous. Well, this one's a little bit fibrous here, which I'm gonna have to cut out. And again, I do the same in terms of scoring it and then removing the flesh with a spoon straight into the salad. And the pit is just a skinny little pit, and it runs along the edge. And so when you cut your mango, just cut it as close as you can to the pit so that you can remove as much flesh as possible from the mango. I'm just using the same spoon.
Oh, look at all that color.
It's gonna be so good. The freshness is, oh, it's so delicious. I love the salad. And it's so easy to make. See, look at how much mango came out of those 2 mangoes. Okay, so now I'm peeling the rest of this mango, the edge, because I do want the rest of the flesh. Don't waste it. You know, when we were kids and we used to eat mangoes, my mom would cut, you know, the edge off and then we would scoop out of there, but then she would say, oh, who wants the pit? And we would all fight for the pit, that we can have extra mango. So I'm just gonna cut the little pieces off and they're gonna go straight into the salad. I also have 3 ears of fresh corn that I have already blanched and cooked, and they've been cooling, and I'm just gonna cut the kernels off. It's actually easier to go from top to bottom. I know you will be tempted to use frozen corn, but it really is much better if you can get fresh corn. And I just toss them in like this, and when you stir it up, it will just break up into large pieces like this generally, and they won't like all fall apart. At this point, we're just gonna toss everything around. Oh, it smells good too. Wish you all can smell it. You're also gonna use some green onions. I have 2 green onions here. Just to add some freshness. And if you don't want to add green onions, you can use red onions or regular, just white onion, or even chives. Okay, the onions are going in, right? And a small bunch of cilantro, probably about a 1/4 cup chopped. And again, if you don't like cilantro, you can leave it out, but I love cilantro and I love the flavor that it adds to the salad. Okay, adding about 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. And we're going to add just a couple pinches of red crushed pepper. And this is gonna add a little bit of kick. If you don't like spice, maybe use black pepper instead. You know what would be good in here is also jalapeno pepper, if you want it more spicy. All right, I'm just gonna transfer this into a nicer bowl. That cat just cracks me up. Does that look delicious or what?